Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Network Voices interview series. In this series, we pair members of the Marathon of Hope Cancer Center Network's Patients Working Group with network researchers and clinicians. Before I introduce today's guest, we should probably introduce ourselves. My name is Jennifer. I'm one of the co-presenters today. My journey started back in 2019 when I was first diagnosed with stage 3B melanoma. I am originally from Newfoundland, Labrador, so melanoma is not as common as it is in other places. It was 8 weeks before my wedding when I was diagnosed, but I'm happy to say that I am 4 years out with no active cancer, and I'm working now to have the honor of being a patient partner with the Terry Fox Foundation and working to support others going through this disease. By sharing my story and sharing my experiences with networks like this and researchers, I'm hoping to make cancer care more patient focused instead of just disease focused. And now I will pass it on to my great co-presenter, Darrin, to give a little intro of himself.
Thanks, Jen. My name is Darrin Park, and I live in Edmonton, Alberta. I'm a proud member of the Patient Working Group of the Marathons of Hope Cancer Centers Network. I was diagnosed with primary central nervous system lymphoma of the T cell in 2012 and was given 18 months if I could make it through treatment. It's been 13 years, and although I have two tumors that light up at every MRI, they don't significantly change. I've decided that my cancer and I have a symbiotic relationship. They can stay up there in my brain, and I live a great life. Along with my patient working group activities, I'm very involved with the Terry Fox Foundation as the run organizer for the Terry Fox Run in Edmonton. I'm honored to be involved with all the activities and initiatives that I do with the Terry Fox Foundation, the Terry Fox Research Institute, and the Marathons of Hope Cancer Centers Network.
Nice to see you, Darrin. Now it's my pleasure to introduce today's guest. Dan Loos is the coordinator of BioBank NL at Memorial University here in Newfoundland. BioBank NL is part of the Atlantic Canadian Biobank Consortium, a network of biobanks across the region using standardized collection procedures that support samples and data sharing across institutions. The Marathon of Hope Cancer Center Network provides support for biobanks across the country, like BioBank NL, that are doing incredible work and helping make Canadian a great contender in the global genomic research community. Welcome, Dan.
G'day, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here talking to you guys.
We're really excited to be talking with you as well. So let's start off with an easy one for you. What is a biobank and how can access to high quality biobank samples and data benefit patients, clinicians, and researchers?
Well, I think the biggest challenge for any researcher is usually the time it takes to collect samples to study. And that's where biobanking comes in. So biobanking is the process of collecting and storing biological samples, as well as clinical data associated for future research. So the name's kind of in, the explanation is in the name, sorry, I should say. We're a biobank. So we're the bank that collects and stores all the tumor tissue, blood cells, genomic data, as well as the patient's medical history. And then researchers can make like withdrawals and begin their research immediately. So this is good for everyone because it ensures researchers are getting the highest quality samples possible. We store everything to international standards. It accelerates discovery, so they're not waiting for specimens. They can just get cracking as soon as they need to. And by doing this, we're building a large database, which helps researchers see patterns in data and be able to pass out the clues and see where we should be looking. But really, it focuses on precision medicine. Biobanking is a really good component of that. And by that precision medicine, I mean the right treatment for the right patient at the right time. So the Terry Fox Research Institute through the Marathon of Hope Cancer Centers Network have really been the main driver of precision medicine here in Canada. And, through their help, we've been able to innovate on a national scale. We can share data, we can share samples, we can ensure research goes on without delay. So I'm really grateful to be here talking to you today about my work. I really love what I do.
It sounds like it, and it sounds like the data that you're collecting will definitely help more and more people that are facing this disease. Another quick question for you, because I hear that you have a little bit of an accent that's a little bit different. If you don't mind, where are you from, and what brings you to Atlantic Canada?
Well, you're right. I'm from Australia originally, but my wife, she's a born and bred Newfoundlander. Um, I have a pretty diverse background through science. I originally graduated with a bachelor's degree from the Queensland University of Technology, specializing in medical laboratory science. And straight out of uni, I went into acute cancer diagnosis, HIV clinics. I did some organ donor screening, stuff like that. But I really kind of changed gears and got into genetics before I left Australia. And I sequenced thousands of patient samples. And by looking at all that data, it kind of sparked my interest in precision medicine because you can see these trends and things that are happening in specific people. So by the time I met my wife and we moved to Canada, we ended up in Ottawa. I worked as a college professor. I worked in the medical marijuana field. I did quality assurance for Abbott Medical. And I coached some local rugby too, which was great. But my wife got offered a job back here in Newfoundland, and we jumped at the opportunity to be closer to family with two young kids. And I met the principal investigator of BioBank NL here through networking, and Dr. John Toms. And he thought I'd be good for the position, and I'm glad he did because I love my job. I'm really grateful to be working with such wonderful people here in Newfoundland.
Well, we're glad to have you. So what was your initial interest when you were first approached about joining the biobank that really kind of sparked that first, yes, let me come on board?
Was kind of the fact that this is the start of something. Like the biobank in Newfoundland has been running since 2021, and we're kind of at the beginning of this really huge surge to collect lots of patient data, lots of patient samples. And it's exciting to be at the start of something, like really working to build something that's foundational here and that will live on way past my time here at the biobank. So it's just really interesting to combine my love of laboratory work, but also my love of talking to people. I'm really grateful that I get to talk to such wonderful people who are really willing to help when I consent them.
That's awesome. I love the passion that you have, and I know the excitement of being in something that's just starting and rapidly growing. Dan, can you walk us through what the process is for a patient contributing to the biobank? How do you build trust and ensure that the patient has all the information they need to make an informed decision?
Darren, this is a really good question because without the patients, we're nothing. And to me, building trust with them is the keystone of our work. So the ideal material that researchers really want to work with is tumor tissue. So we start by identifying patients here in Newfoundland who are about to have surgery to remove a tumor, and we find them through the pre-admission clinics here in Newfoundland. And so we're really lucky. We work with some really great nurses who understand our work and are willing to do whatever it takes to help us out, which is great. And they do a bit of screening for us before we talk to patients because we need to understand the patient is coming to have major surgery. They're obviously very anxious and they have a lot on their plate that day. We don't want to add to that. So we get the nurses to kind of bring up biobanking with them, see if they're interested, and then if they are interested, that's when we start discussing with them. So we sit down together in a room, we have our 12-page consent form, and we work through it page by page. So we discuss everything that they need to know about this. We talk about how this is completely voluntary. They can withdraw at any time and there is no issue for them. The participation in this won't affect their treatment at all, and that we de-identify all our samples to protect their anonymity. And we have really strict measures in place to make sure that their anonymity is maintained. And then we clearly talk about the risks. There are risks involved in terms of their privacy and data as well. So we want to make sure that they're aware of everything that could happen. We also talk about what types of research that is planned, what researchers want to use their sample for, and what kind of clinical data that they want to access as well. And then we can talk about, do they want to be informed about any genetic findings? So this is a really interesting part of biobanking is that when researchers do their work, they might find that the patient is actually positive for a cancer gene. And we can let the patient know about that if they want to. And I'm really grateful we do that too, because we can set them up with genetics counselors here in Newfoundland, and their whole family can access that and go through any information or testing or treatment. So that's a really big proponent of it. And, we make sure that they're very much aware of that. But mainly throughout this, I really try and be an active listener. I want to make sure that they feel heard and that they really understand every aspect of this commitment. And I've walked away from consents before because I just thought this patient doesn't really understand what's about to happen for them. And we're not here to twist anyone's arm at all. And we never push anyone to participate. But in saying that, I've been pretty incredibly lucky to carry the Terry Fox name with me, because it opens a lot of doors here with Newfoundlanders. But I think the main part of your question I wanted to say is that we want to make sure that they feel heard, that they know exactly what's going on, and that at any time that they can pull out, and they just have to give us a phone call to make that happen.
That's awesome. It sounds like a win-win to me. There's extra in it for the patient and for you as well.
That's right.
Fantastic. Then, how would you say samples are used by researchers, and how can patients have their samples submitted? Are there certain types of samples that you're interested in collecting?
Absolutely, yeah. So we're based here in the Memorial University in the Faculty of Medicine, which is actually attached to the main hospital here in Newfoundland. So we are able to go between pathology, pre-admission, surgery, all the different places, which is really great for our work. But the really good part about that as well is we're also in the same building as almost all of the cancer researchers here in Newfoundland. So we collaborate with them weekly. Like, we'll talk to them about what research they have coming up, what we can do to help them with that. Do they need stool? Do they need blood fractions? Do they need something different from the patient? So we're always collaborating with them, seeing exactly what they'd like. But when it comes to research, especially cancer research, the most valuable material is really the DNA and the RNA extracted from the tumor tissue. And the researchers use that to sequence the patient's genome. And why they do this is they want to identify if the patient has certain cancer genes, or see why they are not responding to a certain therapy, or which one would be better for them. It's kind of leading back into that precision medicine we were talking about before. But, here we focus really on colorectal tissue, breast tissue, prostate, lung, gynae, pancreas. But, we're always willing to expand that, with more research coming online. And the way patients contribute is by consenting their permission to have some extra tissue donated to the biobank, or they can consent their permission to have some stool taken or some blood taken. It really depends on the patient, but researchers want to get their hands on lots of different stuff.
Awesome.
So we know that Newfoundland is known that we have a very unique population that's aging, that is a little bit older and things. And we have some of the highest rates right now, unfortunately, of colorectal cancer and now lung cancer coming up. But what exactly makes Newfoundland Labrador so interesting for biobanking?
There are a couple reasons. One is that Newfoundland is one of Canada's 2 internationally recognized human founder populations. And that just means that there hasn't been a lot of change to genomes here over time. And, when populations are small and there's no real genetic diversity, there tend to be genetic abnormalities that are kind of really easy to see. Or there can be ones like here in Newfoundland, there are certain pockets on the island where certain families have like gene-specific illnesses, but we can't identify the gene yet. So we're trying to work with these familial clusters to figure out, why these patients are developing these illnesses, why it's happening, are there any lifestyle or clinical factors driving them. So Newfoundland is a good spot for research in terms of, it's a founder population, but also there are a lot of different familial disease clusters here that are interesting for researchers.
That's really interesting. Thank you.
And I know you've already touched on this a little bit, Dan, but could you tell me, how has the national collaboration through the Marathons of Hope Cancer Centers Network contributed to your ability to conduct or expand your work?
Well, so we spoke briefly about precision medicine earlier, and I just wanted to expand on it a little bit more, since, I think it's really the future of medicine. It allows doctors and researchers to predict accurately which treatment and prevention strategies for a certain disease will work in certain groups of people. Currently, we have kind of a one-size-fits-all approach for patients, and we found that sometimes they can actually not work, or actually negatively affect the patient with certain genes. So researchers will look at the patient's genome, their clinical history, their lifestyle, review all of the different treatments available to them, and then figure out the one that fits perfectly for them. So I'm really excited about precision medicine for the future, and it wouldn't be possible without Terry Fox Research Institute, with the help of the Marathon of Hope Cancer Centers Network. You know, precision medicine back in the day was a pipe dream. It wasn't like something that we considered we could do, but now thanks to TFRI, it's a nationwide strategy. Like people all over Canada are collaborating through the Marathon of Hope Cancer Centers Network. There are biobanks throughout Canada, and we talk to all of them all the time. So, you know, number one, it's helped us collaborate to a level that we've never seen before. It's also the funding from TFRI has also allowed us to buy really expensive equipment and stuff that to make sure that we can meet international standards for everything, from tissue to blood to DNA to RNA to our sequence genes. We have the best equipment in the game, so we're really lucky to have funding for that stuff. But like I said before, the Marathon of Hope Cancer Centers Network it's all about the network. We're sharing data between biobanks, between researchers, people in Atlantic Canada. I just talked to people in Vancouver the other day about a research project that they wanted to run, and they were interested in Newfoundland samples. So, you know, by setting up this Marathon of Hope Cancer Centers Network, it's really created like a foundation for future research to happen without delay. So it's really helpful to have them.
Awesome. That's fantastic.
So you just touched on something that a lot of people don't know, that we're now looking more in a Canadian-wide format than just, just individual provinces. So looking ahead, where we're moving more and more into precision medicine, what advancements in cancer, not only treatments, but this prevention alone, do you think will be made possible through biobanking?
This is a really great question because I just spent the last week talking with researchers here at Memorial discussing how to utilize AI to review pathology slides and identify abnormalities. So there's a researcher here who would like to look at all these different patient slides of their tissue and use AI to identify certain cells in it. And then we can pick up trends that we haven't seen before when humans are just looking at it one after the other. We're also looking at utilizing AI to unfold proteins digitally. So researchers can understand why they get activated or deactivated and why some cells become malignant and some don't. And we're also using AI to review thousands of patients' clinical data and look at the metadata about it. So we can see trends before they're happening and understand, okay, people in this environment are more likely to be affected by this, stuff like that. But you know what? It's not just AI that's leading these advancements. Researchers are doing work in this cool new field called spatial multiomics, which is pretty new. But basically, it means they can look at the 3D structure of the tumor and map out each different molecule and cell and witness how they interact together. So this will help us understand complex biological processes like cell communication, cell death, disease development, stuff like that. Which is really interesting. And biobanks can help facilitate this, you know. So without biobanks, a lot of this research would wait years to actually happen. So they would have enough samples accumulated to make the research actually worthwhile. Because when it boils down to research, if your sample size is too small, your research isn't very good. So having biobanks in place, we can have thousands and thousands of all these samples readily available and the data that goes with them. So researchers can just hit the ground running and get it done. And so by doing what we do every day, by speaking to patients every single day, we're adding to that massive database and that massive list of tissue. And it's really exciting about what's going to happen in the future, you know, with all these new advances in technology. But I think we're ready to support them, which is awesome.
Yeah, it sounds great, and it sounds like biobank is definitely giving the basis for any new technology in AI, like you said, coming into the research field. It gives us a lot more tissue samples that we already have available instead of having to wait to get some new ones. So that's really great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it just seems like we're right on the cutting edge of stuff that's happening, and what an exciting time and place to be. I think this looks like a good place to wrap up the conversation. But before we do, Dan, I want to give you the opportunity to just add anything that you might think we might have missed.
I just would like to say thank you both so much for having me. I'm really privileged to have my job, and I'm really lucky to talk to so many wonderful people every day. And I realize that without patients, without people who've been through what you've been through, we wouldn't be doing anything. We wouldn't be progressing in any way in terms of research. So I just want to say thank you to every patient who's taken the time to speak to me and who's wanted to help. It's been a really wonderful experience for me, and I'm really grateful to hear their stories and know that every consent we get, we're getting a bit closer to finding the answers. So I'm excited for the future.
Awesome. And I know I can speak on behalf of patients, I think. When I first was diagnosed, I was excited to be involved in a research project, and I think we're fortunate to have people like you looking after our samples and making sure that research is possible. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. Please say hello to your whole team from us, and we're wishing you all the best of luck.
Thank you both so much. I very much appreciate it.